Hey guys, good morning. It's Don again. How you doing? Um, I'm on my way to the gym, and I figured I'd do this impromptu video. I think that needs to be done. And pardon me, I got allergies, and allergies are kicking here. But I wanted to stop by really quick and I felt I needed to record this video as a foundation for my other videos that have been posted. A couple of them already, and the ones in the future that I'm going to post. And this is about my spiritual awakening. This is something that happened in 1993, and it was a profound moment in my life. It changed me from an unawakened person to an awakened person, and it was such a shift that it just went from just one person to another basically. Um, And I do, again, I need to make this video because I want this to be the foundation of all of the videos. I believe I did a video that I reposted or made it unprivate, made it public, like 8 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, something like that. And I didn't look at it in a while, but I think I mentioned something about awakening and stuff like that, and some videos about that side of who I am. But I really feel, and that was like 8 years ago, whatever it was, seven. And I really feel that I need to update this and really solidify what I've been through, my experience, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So I got a little list here. I don't want to forget nothing, but so bear with me if I kind of refer to this. I'm not going to go all on memory, but I will speak from my heart when I can. Um, like I said, I had an awakening, spiritual awakening, or an enlightenment, or epiphany, whatever you want to call it, in 1993, and I believe I was destined to have that. I don't want to get too much into kind of like the spiritual stuff, but um, I do believe that you're when in a lifetime you die, your body goes away, whatever, but your spirit goes, and then it's like your spirit gets reincarnated, and you come back. I do believe in soul ages. Like there's a certain amount of soul ages that you go through, and then at the end you hit enlightenment and you're good to go. It's like a nature cycle. And I do believe the spirit is also just like nature as we sit around here. It's a cycle. You go through a cycle and then you start out, go through your ages and progress, and you hit enlightenment. But I'll make that video for another day. So I do believe I was destined to do this. I do believe I was transitioning from one soul age. And like I said, this, I don't want to get too much into it, but there's like baby soul age, young, there's adult, there's old souls, and there's a few. It's almost like going to school. It's almost like you're in kindergarten and you're in third grade and you go to fifth grade, 10th grade, and you kind of go through. So I do believe that that's what happens with our spirit or our soul, whatever. We just kind of go through, and in the end, we hit enlightenment. So I do believe my awakening, and I'm going to try to be brief, man. I'll try to give you my 1 minute, 2 minute elevator speech on my awakening, but it's really in depth, but I'll try. Do my best. And so do believe in this lifetime, I went from like an adult soul to an old soul. I went from really an unawakened person when I was born and went through my life. And then in 1993, I had this shift. And then I went to this old soul person. I do believe I had the characteristics before I became awake, when I was younger, uh, that I was the characteristics of an old soul and an empath and a highly sensitive person, or an HSP, and my Myers-Briggs personality type. If you guys are familiar with that, I'm an INFJ. So all the characteristics that go along with those things, I do believe I had, because I was in the progress of switching from one soul age to another. Um, but then when I was young, I didn't realize it. I was doing things. I could read people, situations, just all things that would come along with those things I mentioned. And but I didn't know. I thought everybody did that. I thought it was normal, whatever. That I come to realize later in life, after my awakening, not everybody can do those things. Um, but the trigger, or what switched me, or what flipped me from some unawakened, person, Still progressing though, but I had something had to trigger, so, and that was anxiety. I in like 1990 or 91, I was diagnosed with anxiety. I distinctly remember it, and but I think the anxiety was what flipped me, and I went through it, and one day it just snapped. Literally, I almost want to say literally, but I got to say figuratively. But something inside me, I've been dealing with anxiety for like 2 years or so, and one day I'm done with anxiety. I was just done with it. My heart, my soul, every fiber of my being, I knew deep in my heart I was just done. And something actually, I almost want to say, it's like when you crack your knuckles or you have like your muscle or your joints snap sometimes. It was almost like that emotionally for me or spiritual for me. And something snapped or cracked, and I was a different person. I was like, I am done with this anxiety, and that's kind of what flipped me into being an more awakened person, or having my spiritual awakening. And from that second on, that instant on, um, I was just a new person, and I was just on another trajectory, more enlightened. And I started to learn about myself, and I mean, there's a million things I could talk about. But I started to understand myself, learn about myself. I learned that the subcategories or who I was were the highly sensitive person, or HSP, or old soul, or like an empath, a Heyoka empath more specifically, and INFJ. So I'm like, I come to learn about myself, and I come to realize that that's who I am, and that whole understanding, that whole learning shifted me into like a more aware person. More, I could acknowledge to myself that that's what I am, that's where I'm going, that's what's happening. So the shift actually came in this lifetime. From I think it was an adult soul, maybe want to say, to like an older soul here. But I always thought maybe, and I never gave it much thought, but I always thought these shifts happen after you pass on, your spirit goes on, and before it comes back, you may make a switch into a different soul or spirit. But this actually, for me, I felt, and I do feel it happened in this lifetime. In this human body, this human experience, it happened now. So yeah, that's basically what happened. I can tell you right now, I was destined for it. As I'm reading my notes, I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything. And also, uh, there is a Hollywood's version of a spiritual awakening. If you guys ever watched A Christmas Carol, and when I saw that, I was like, man, that's Hollywood's version. I think it's Charles Dickens, and back in the 1840s wrote A Christmas Carol. Don't quote me on that. But if you're familiar with that Scrooge, everybody knows Scrooge. The guy was a grumpy old miser and all this other stuff. And all of a sudden he went to bed one night and had visits from these ghosts or spirits, and shocked him into being another person. He woke up the next day and he was just a newborn person. So that it didn't happen like that for me, but that's Hollywood's version. So it's in the fabric of society, I think, a little bit. These things happening. So but being awake is really lonely. And I'm not trying to make you feel sorry for me or anything like that. That's not what I'm doing. But it's lonely. Not that many people, I feel, are awake, or they keep it to themselves, or whatever the case may be. So um, I find myself almost being like somebody in college. And when I talk to people, they're unawake. So I almost have to talk to them like they're in first grade, a college person to a first grader, simplify things and stuff. And I'm not being down on anybody or trying to, whatever. I'm not, being mean or anything like that. But that's kind of what it is. Because I'm like, when I talk, I'm talking to some people that aren't awake, and I'm on the other side. It's kind of, there's really no connection there. So, um, so I went over Soul Ages. The key to my trigger, I said, was anxiety. This thing, I do think if somebody does have an awakening, and I've read somewhere, and I watch, every once in a while a video on this awakenings. Oh, I had a happy incident happen to me and awakened me. And I'm like, I believe that awakenings don't come from happenings. Happy stuff comes from depression, anxiety, car accident, traumatic events, and that's when you flip. And I do believe if you're destined to do that, have an awakening, that's kind of what's going to trigger it. So yeah, that's it. That's my 2-minute elevator pitch. if you have any questions, let me check my notes here real fast. Did I leave anything out? The moan of the shit, yeah, snap. It just happened, and this thing, I can remember where and when it happened as clear as day in my mind, and I'm like, and I went from here, I was going on this path, all of a sudden, I went down a completely another path in an instant. And that's awesome. But anyway, that's the basis of my YouTube channel. And even what I started 8 years ago, I kind of was on sea legs. I wasn't too sure what I was doing, but I kind of knew what I wanted to talk about. And I did like, a bunch of videos, 10, 15 videos and stuff like that. And then I kind of stepped back a little bit, and I still wasn't necessarily comfortable with that. But since then, 8 years, 6 years, whatever it was, I've come a long, a further way down, the path of my journey here. And I've written 2 books. My first book is on anxiety, the actual incident that took place, and how it may relate to you if you may be going through some anxiety. And then subsequently, I wrote another book of once I got past my anxiety, um, you know, what was just shown to me, what was given to me from my muse and all this other stuff. And I put that in another book. And I'm not here to promote my books or anything like that, but I'll leave the link to my website down below in the description if you guys want to peruse that. But right now, the book on anxiety I did in 2015, so I'm updating that. And that was just a Kindle book, an ebook, whatever you call it. So that I should have that in a print copy next month or two. Got to get with my editor and do what I got to do. So, but yeah, so that's the first book, and it's almost like you could follow step by step the evolution of me going through my awakening. The anxiety book, then what I've learned so far. And the second book is called The Inconspicuous Sage, and all this knowledge that I've gained. And some people get it, some people don't. I understand. Like, again, it's like that 12th grader talking to, kindergartner. I wrote it as a 12th grader, a college kid, whatever you want to say, that level. And then, when people read it, they're reading it as kindergartners, they won't get it. So some people do, some people don't, but it's a lot of knowledge in there, a lot of wisdom that I must admit I get from my muse. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I just wanted, like I said, touch on a couple minutes here. I haven't posted a video in like a week or two and stuff like that, but I wanted to step back a bit and lay the foundation of this, because everything that comes after this video, and even the couple of videos before, spawned from this awakening and knowledge and wisdom and awareness of things will come from this. So you can tie everything back, to this video. Even my introductory video I did, a month ago, whatever it was. I was kind of sitting in my car and telling you what's going on, and that I want to do this to share my wisdom and knowledge. I'm not doing it for anything else. A lot of folks do YouTube to, I don't know what they do, just to get out there, to make money, whatever they want to do. That's not my gig, man. That's not what I'm about. I just want to share what I have to share and what I can share. And I mean, if I get recognized, hey, more power to. I sell some books, that's cool. But I'm not here to do any of them. I'm not here to make money. If I do, that's cool too. But it's really to share my knowledge and wisdom with people, and I think that's part of my journey. It's part of my purpose in life, in this life as I got left. And once I pass on from here, I go to another journey. I'll come back, and but I did want to say it's important. And you may have preferences, you may have likes, you may have these things that you like deja vu and stuff. When souls come back, they leave and they come back as another older soul. It's not just a cut and dry thing. Things come through the veil. Things that I believe, come through the veil, and things that you've learned in the past from previous lives and soul lives. It's just like, when a like 3-year-old boy or 2-year-old boy sits on the piano and starts playing Beethoven, or people have past lives experience or deja vu, or whatever it is. Things get through the veil. Things come through the curtain from each lifetime, soul lives. So I do believe that's true. Like I said, I don't want to get too much into the soul age. I'll do another video. If you guys want to hear about that, I'll definitely do that. Let me know in the comments. Well, let me know anything in the comments. That's cool. But yeah, so anyway, that's it. I think there might be one last little blip I got. Oh, no, I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, so much to say. It's hard to like curtail myself, to certain things. I can't, like I said, I can't do like an elevator pitch and accurately and adequately cover everything. So I hope this was enlightening for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope shed some light, maybe, hey, give you food for thought. And, If you do, it's cool. Comment, do what you got to do, and that's it. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to head off to the gym now. I'm kind of like, but I got my part of last remnants of my green drink, basically B12. So I get some more energy and just go and do what I got to do. So, but that's it. So, like I said, this will be the foundation for what I'm going to be moving forward with, and everything will spawn from this, and just this video, and the video is based on my experience of my awakening. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have an awesome day. I think today's May 8th, 2026. I don't even know what time it is. It must be like 9:30 in the morning here in the New York area. So, all right, that's it. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Thanks a lot.